Hello everyone and welcome to the Keaney Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Rhode Island in Kingston, Rhode Island, as the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network brings you the semifinal matchup in girls volleyball for Division I. Prout taking on East Providence. I'm Joe Koss alongside Neil Nachbar, and we've already seen the first matchup. It'll be Coventry to play one of these two teams in the championship game. What are we going to see here in the second half of our semifinal duel?
Well, Joe, it's going to be tough to match the excitement of that first match, but I think we're in for another good one here. Prout is the top seed. They come in having only lost one match all season, and East Providence was 13-3 during the regular season. Now, when they faced each other at the midpoint, Prout swept them at Prout, but I have a feeling that East Providence just happened to have one of those off nights. I'm sure that they had a much better play day in and day out than they showed when they were at Prout. I think they want to redeem themselves here, and I'm sure that both teams are going to fight hard to face Coventry in that final.
In this opening set, East Providence on the left side of your screen with white trimmed in red, and on the right side of your screen in maroon trimmed in white will be Prout. We're about set to get underway in the opening set of the semifinal matchup in girls volleyball Division I action, and to kick things off, it'll be Lindsay Alianello who will serve first for East Providence and the Townies. The Townies coached by Alex Butler, and Prout coached by Dan Green and the Crusaders. You're not going to miss Butler out there on the floor. That bright red shirt for East Providence.
He's also a very big guy.
Yeah. Looks like he might be a basketball player in a former life.
You have that correct. He actually has his number retired by Rhode Island College.
And we are underway. Alianello with the serve, and Prout trying to turn it back. Alianello plays it back behind the line. The ball was probably intended for going past the end line, but the point to start things off will go to Prout, and we're underway. Oh, Prout tossing up the first serve, and it'll be an ace.
I expect to see Prout serve tough all night. That's their game. They do not let up from the service line. They will miss some, but they are going to also get their share of aces.
Jackie Tuzinant serving, and she'll get 2 quick points for the Prout Crusaders to go up 3-0 here early on in the opening set. Just getting underway. Decent crowd here on hand tonight for our second of two games. Today, this game getting started a little bit later, just after 9 o'clock. Scheduled for an 8 o'clock start, so a little bit behind where they had intended to be. But the point being taken there by East Providence. Nice play at the net that time by Mary Monagal. And it'll be the first point of the game for East Providence. Serve being tossed up by Nicole Sturck. Alianello plays it back. Up ahead this time for Monagal. Tries to send it over. Now back the other direction. Libby Sullivan on the kill for Prout.
That ball looked like it was going to be hit long by Prout, but East Providence played it. Prout ends up winning the point.
The libero, Jenna Walsh, on the serve for Prout. Tosses it up. Clips the top of the net, but it'll be good enough for an ace as it was misplayed by Hannah Drolet for East Providence.
And this is a rotation where East Providence wants to cash in. They have the Drolet twins both in the front row together.
Hannah Drolet wearing number 5. Leah Drolet wearing number 16 for East Providence. And Leah will bump it over and keep play alive. Near side attack. Number 11. It's Brooke Sullivan.
I would say Brooke has been the most consistent hitter for Prout this season. She's going up against a very tall block in the Drolet sisters, and she hits that ball right between the two of them.
Here's Jenna Walsh again on the serve. A nice little jump serve again, clipping the top of the net. And again, in for an ace. Now, we saw this in the semifinal matchup when Coventry and Mount St. Charles went together. I think we counted about 5 times throughout the game where the serve clipped the top of the net and went in for an ace, and we're starting to see that trend again already 2 times just out of Jenna Walsh here in the opening set.
And there's another one.
That one didn't go down for an ace. It's kept alive that time, and Hannah Drolet smacks that one just a little bit wide. Point will stay with Prout, and boy, Prout is on it. 8-1 early on here in the opening set of this contest.
Yeah, they're serving very aggressively.
Walsh. And it's good. That was close. And they're going to give Walsh an ace. What was that? 3 aces on the opening string of serves. 9-1 for East Providence. You're a coach at Tolman High School. You coach the boys team. Alex Butler is in a position now. He's got a team that's got their hands on their hips, a little bit down, a little bit tired here, and we've only played 10 points.
Yeah, you never know how your team's going to come out to start a playoff match, especially a big stage like this, and you're playing in a gym that you haven't played in all season. And right now, he's just telling them to settle down. Let's talk to each other on serve receive. Let's make sure we know who's playing every ball, and we've got to step up against these aggressive serves. Prout's not doing anything that they didn't expect. Prout always serves tough, and East Providence has just got to pick it up on serve receive, and they got to get to the ball.
Yeah, I think you do have a little bit of a case of the pregame jitters. Both these teams are up here at the top level of the concourse here in the Keaney Gymnasium, watching the prior semifinal game take shape, and I wonder if that plays into the nerves a little bit. That game went 5 sets in a 3-2 victory for Coventry, went right down to the wire, had a lot of emotion. Right now, some of that may be carrying over, and some pre-game jitter as they try to find their legs here early on. Leah Drolet trying to push it over, but they're going to get her for a violation. I believe she caught the net when she went to push that attack over.
Yeah, I've been fortunate as a coach to be in this situation before, having made it to the semifinals a number of times, and you always rather have that first semifinal because it's closer to the time that you usually play.
And Jenna Walsh's string of serves will come to an end with the service error. This game, as I mentioned, starting at about 9 o'clock, was scheduled to start 8. Most high school games are going to start at 7. Could that impact the play of one team or the other? Well, it could, but we know that both teams are facing the same situation, so it may not be that big of a factor once game gets underway. Hey, when it's game time, you get into it. Nice little play right there by Meg Lavoie, trying to keep things alive for Prout, but East Providence able to stop the bleeding. Now the score showing 10-3 as they try to turn the tide here early on. And Hannah Drolet on the serve for the Townies. And it'll go clearly wide on the right sideline.
Yeah, you can't afford that when you're down by 7 points. You just got to get that serve in.
And a running jump serve to kick things off for the Crusaders of Prout. Here's Leah Drolet, punches it up over the top, and the point will be awarded to East Providence.
Yes, net violation called by the down ref, Pete Werme.
At first I thought it was Leah Drolet who caught it because I saw that net tickle, but it was on Prout. And Jenna Walsh misplays it for the ace.
Most of the points scored so far early on have been from the service line. Both teams serving pretty tough.
Yeah, this game is only, 5 minutes old, and we've already got 14 points up on the board. It's going pretty quick. Check that, 17 points. Screened by the basketball hoops here at the Keaney Gymnasium.
I don't think we've had more than 3 or 4 attacks by both teams combined.
That's true. It has taken a bit to get a volley going. Great block at the front. Leah Drolet going up alongside her teammate, Lindsay Alianello, making the magic happen on the front row for East Providence. And Alianello is not all that tall in stature. Going up as a team, though, along the front line, she's a senior outside hitter. Alianello coming up on top of the ball. Look at the emotion. I love it.
Oh, she let out a primal scream after that hit.
We could hear that up here with our headsets on. We're some, 50 feet away. And it's enough for Prout to call a timeout. Interesting, because it started off where they went on a 10-1 advantage to start things off. Did Prout now 11-8, and right now East Providence starting to gain that momentum, and just that quickly they're back into the contest.
Yeah, we saw that in the first semifinal as well. Some big momentum swings, and we're seeing that right away to start this semifinal.
So both teams huddle around their coaches. You could see Dan Green over there on the right-hand side. He's wearing the orange jacket, trying to plead with his team to get him back into this game. Started off with a 10-1 advantage. Now the score sitting 11-8 in favor of Prout. They're wearing the maroon uniforms, and East Providence, who containing the serve right now, Alex Butler leading his team, and it'll be Mary Monagle, the outside hitter, who's also a senior. And you look down the roster for this East Providence team, and it's full with several upperclassmen. This is an experienced squad.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, there are 9 seniors, I believe, on East Providence, which is the most that they've had since Alex Butler has been the coach there.
So here's Mary Monagle. Tosses up a serve, dug up by Walsh. Kept alive by East Providence. Monagle again, and she'll drive it into the net. So the attack error for Monagle, trying to make that back row attack, and didn't have enough steam.
Yeah, you could hear Coach Butler saying no, no, no before she did that. He wasn't happy with that decision.
Now it's up to Brooke Sullivan to serve for Prout. Into the back row, played by the libero, Luciana Medici. Played by Sullivan again at the line, pushed over the top by Olivia Hurst, and it's played wide.
Yeah, that ball set a little bit tight, forcing the hitter into the net on the attack.
Luciana Medici serves it to Jenna Walsh. Walsh now forced just to bump it over to keep play alive, and Monagle bumps it up. Now a swift attack taken there by Nicole Strick, and she will win the point.
That ball went off the top of the block and landed right in the corner.
12-10 advantage for Prout. Luciana Medici serving once again, and she'll score another point. 12-11.
Prout's serving great so far, but their serve receive is very shaky.
Medici again. Played by Sullivan. Tapped up there by Lavoie. Over the top, and Prout will earn the point.
She used the block to her advantage that time, wiping the ball right off the blocker's hands.
Devin Doran will have her first opportunity to serve for the Crusaders of Prout, leading by 2. Medici over to Alianello, played at the net, and have a violation at the net by Meg Lavoie, the setter.
I believe that's the 3rd net violation so far for Prout.
At this point in the season, you've got to minimize the mistakes. And the serve being tossed up by Isabel Newton. And it'll be a service error. Tori Jetson into the game for Prout, and she will throw up the serve. And it'll go just long, a service error again. So back-to-back service errors on opposite sides of the floor. Now Lindsay Alianello works her way back around on the rotation, and boy, we talked about how quickly the pace of this match is going because the points are being decided mostly on the serves.
Yeah, neither team really getting into a rhythm yet.
Tapped over the net that time by Hannah Drole, and then driven into the back corner by number 28, Jackie Tuziant. And that'll be enough for the kill.
Yeah, usually if you can find those deep corners, good things will happen.
Dug by Medici. And Hannah Drole driving it into the block, and they win the point as it goes out of bounds.
That play was initiated with a perfect pass off the serve.
Brooke Sullivan with the attempt, and it'll go for a kill. Jenna Walsh back to the rotation again to serve once again. She had a very effective serve, was part of getting the team to that 10-1 advantage early on in the contest, and jump serve into the back row for Medici. Tossed over the top, and Meg Lavoie will play it back for Prout. Here's Drole, Hannah Drole, and boy, that one a little bit controversial as the crowd starts getting into that, and Dan Green does not agree with the call by the line judge.
Yeah, the Prout fans aren't too happy with that call either, but that ball landed right in front of the line judge.
He had a great angle of it, and he definitely made the right call on that one. Here's Meg Lavoie. Now Sullivan attempting to push that ball over, but just couldn't quite muscle it up over the top of the defense on that front row for East Providence. Anna Drolet now to serve. Tied at 16. Walsh misplays it. As a libero, Walsh has had a hard time receiving these serves.
Yeah, it looks like the Prouts lost their focus a little bit after that call that they thought was a bad call.
And East Providence takes the lead for the first time, 17-16. Drolet again. This time played by Sullivan. Lavoie sets for Sullivan. Boy, Sullivan thought she had won the point already. And she gave up on the play, but fortunately enough, she had some help, and Medici could not quite make the play for East Providence.
Yeah, that ball came off an East Providence defender right into the net, and East Providence able to play the ball out of the net.
Olivia Hurst into the game as Tori Judson heads for the bench for Prout. Drolet keeps the ball up. It's played back to the back row by Devin Doran, and then Walsh, an athletic play to keep the ball alive on the third attempt. That time sent over by Mary Monagle. And driven into the net by Meg Lavoie. So another attack error that time going against Meg Lavoie. And it'll turn it back to East Providence. They now lead 18-17 here in the opening set of competition. Serve being thrown up by Mary Monagle, and again, another service error.
Yeah, Coach Butler not happy with those serves that are going into the net. You're not giving yourself a chance to score when you do that. You at least have to get the serve over the net.
Ball back in play. Leah Drolet taps it over the top. Far side. And the point and the kill will go to Olivia Hurst, the right side hitter.
That ball was hit on her way down. She mistimed it a little bit, but just got enough to find the opening in the middle of the court.
Serve is up. Beautiful hit there on the front row. Devin Doran, and that'll call for a timeout for East Providence as Prout leads it 20-18 here in the Keaney Gymnasium. And this has been interesting because I'm surprised to see how East Providence was so quickly able to rally back into this contest. Then all of a sudden, Prout just comes to life again.
Yeah, partly thanks to East Providence missing those serves in the net. That's given them a chance. And Prout has taken advantage, to their credit. I mean, that last play by Duran, she was very quick to pounce over that on that overpass, and Prout was able to cash in. We'll see coming out of the timeout if they can keep the momentum on their side.
You know, I'm watching Dan Green in the huddle for Prout, and he's letting his assistants and the players themselves do the communicating and building their team up. He didn't do a lot of instruction within the team. Then you look on the other side, you see Alex Butler in the huddle, animated, working with his assistant, trying to breathe some life into the East Providence team and get them going again to try to get some momentum with a win here in the opening set as Brooke Sullivan prepares for the serve for Prout.
You're going to see a big contrast in coaching styles between these two.
Alianello, her attack into the net.
Dan Green is a very cerebral coach. He encourages his players to try to figure things out on their own as much as possible. So it's not unusual during a timeout for him to pull maybe one player aside and have an assistant talk to the rest of the team.
And that's what he did on that last timeout. We'll see how effective it is. Right now they're leading 21-18. Walsh plays it up ahead for Lavoie. Driven on the top, a beautiful strike. Devon Duran over the top, and will score the point.
Well, there you see a beautiful one-handed set by Megan Lavoie. You don't see that too often, and she delivered that ball perfectly.
Brooke Sullivan serving it up for Prout. Here's Lavoie again, trying to set that ball perfectly. Over the top, Olivia Hurst couldn't make it happen. Now Hurst passes to the near side, and that'll stop play as Jackie Tuziant never had a chance to make contact with it before the whistle blew.
Yeah, double contact called on Hurst. That was a correct call.
Medici for Walsh. Now near sideline, Tuziant. Alianello calling for it on the far sideline, and a kill. I love the animation out of her. She's so excited. Every time she goes up for an attempt and drives it down for a kill. She just comes to life.
Yeah, that's great. You see that kind of enthusiasm, and hopefully her teammates can feed off that.
And a timeout is called this time for Prout. So 22-20, and Prout on top of this one. Boy, Alianello has that just enthusiasm, passion, and excitement for the game of volleyball and the success that she's had every time she drives an attempt down for a kill. I mean, she's jumping from one side of the court to the other, trying to get her team into the game.
Yeah, you'd like to see that. She's playing with great heart, and she's having fun out there. And the other players are just playing steady, and you want to see that could be contagious. So we'll see coming out of the timeout if they can keep the serve alive. That's going to be number one here. Is they got to make sure that they get this serve in coming right out of the timeout.
Teams break from their huddle, and Luciana Medici, as a senior libero, will get the serve going here for East Providence, starting to run out of time here in the opening set as they are down by 2, creeping up on that magical 25 marker. Medici waiting for the whistle, and Medici tosses up the serve. Lavoie trying to play it at the front row, and a nice play out front by Nicole Strick.
Yeah, Strick not only had perfect timing on that, but she directed that ball at an angle there was no way that Prout could get it.
Medici again with the serve, back for Walsh. Finds Lavoie. Lavoie looking for Tuzana along the near sideline, couldn't find her, had to go to the far side. Over the top, Strick again for the kill, ties it at 22.
Yep, that time East Providence running a play on the right side. Strick finds a sharp angle for an opening.
Luciana Medici tied at 22. Meg Lavoie finds Tuzanant, dug up by number 5 Hannah Drolet, but it goes out of bounds and out of play, and Prout will regain the lead now 23-22. Devin Donahue.
Hannah Drolet reacted a little bit late on that play.
Here's Donahue with the serve, and a serve error into the net. That's been at least 4 or 5 service errors that we've seen. Now we're at 23. Tuziant able to keep that ball alive, played from the back row by Sullivan. The attack long by Monagle, and the point awarded to Prout, now 24-23, and we're at match point.
Yeah, we saw an attack earlier in this game by East Providence. Similar place on the court, deep, far away from the net, and similar results.
No set point for Prout. And they'll put it in the hands of Tori Jetson to get the ball into play. Here's Hannah Drolet. Sends it up over the top. Now Lavoie looking for Tuzanant along the near side. Can't make it work. Far sideline. Alianello, an athletic play, trying to keep the ball in play, but it won't be enough. Prout will take the opening set. What did you see throughout that one, Neil? Break that set down from us from Prout's perspective and for East Providence.
Well, if you're East Providence and Coach Butler, you've got to think that you shot yourself in the foot there. There were a lot of missed opportunities. You know, they had the momentum a number of times, and then they would serve the ball in the net. There were a couple of balls that were misplayed that were in the middle of the court. So you have to feel that if you had just played a little bit better, that was your game. From the Prout perspective, they also had some unforced errors. Prout served tough as they normally do. They missed a serve towards the end. They got away with it, but I think both coaches feel that their teams haven't hit their stride yet. I think you've seen some opening jitters, and I think they're both going to come out here in the second set playing much better.
Well, we'll see what happens in the second set. Prout takes the opening stanza, 25-23. We'll be back with the second set coming up next on the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network. Welcome back to the Keaney Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Rhode Island. Set one in the books as Prout has taken the 25-23 victory here in our second of two semifinal matchups in Division I girls volleyball. I'm Joe Koss alongside Neil Nachbar to bring you all the action tonight on the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network. And now Prout up by one into the second set. We've seen a little bit of sloppiness in the serve, which is kind of interesting because we expected that Prout would be strong on the serve all night long, but it really hasn't worked out to be that way.
Yeah, too many unforced errors there. You're just giving away points. And you want to serve tough, but it's a fine line between serving tough and not giving yourself any margin for error with the serve. So you don't want to make the other team move and have to talk on serve receive, but you also have got to make sure that you're serving for a high percentage.
Well, both teams break from their huddle. Dan Green along the far sideline having some final words with Jenna Walsh, trying to encourage her to lead this team to the championship game. We already know that the winner of this game will play Coventry High School in the title game on Saturday.
Yep, Coventry in the stands looking on. They can relax for a little bit and check out who their opponent will be, do a little scouting. See Coach Bush down there with the clipboard in hand.
So Jenna Walsh will come into the game and sent off to the sideline. Here's Doran, excuse me, for Prout, and Prout will open things up with the first serve of the second set. And Jackie Tuziant, the senior outside hitter, standing at 5'9", will kick things off here for Prout. Let's see if they can go on a run like they did in the first set. Powerful drive from the near sideline by Mary Monagle. But the point will be awarded to Prout.
Tough to see from our angle up here, but the linesperson said that the ball hit the antenna.
Tuziant tosses up the serve and play underway for the second point. Shoveling it over the net. Nicole Strick. And it's enough to win the point, and she will earn the serve for East Providence.
That's a well-placed tip there between the front row defender and the back row defender.
Strick sends it forcefully into the back row, and Brooke Sullivan forced to just bump it over to keep it alive. And a nice hit that time by Leah Drolet, but it's just long.
Yeah, she just hit that ball a little bit flat. She needs to get some top spin on the ball by snapping her wrist.
Jenna Walsh on the serve. Back row, Medici. Another powerful hit. Hannah Drolet, the Drolet sisters certainly have a powerful attack along that front line.
Yeah, they are a formidable duo there when they're in the front row together, especially.
Right now, Hannah will take up her position at the back as the setter. Set up far side for Brooke Sullivan. Attack error into the net.
That's uncharacteristic of Sullivan. She's been one of their best hitters all season. I wouldn't be surprised if they go right back to her.
Hannah Drolet again on having some technical difficulties here on the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network, but we're back with you here. 5-3 the score. East Providence taking the first lead of this second set. Right now, Prout up on top, and East Providence trying to keep the ball alive, but it's played into the net by Isabel Newton. And the serve will go over to Brooke Sullivan. But you've got a team in Prout that won 3-0 over East Providence earlier in the year, and that does play into your mind a little bit if you're East Providence.
Yeah, there's always that little bit of doubt in the back of your head. Are we good enough to beat them?
Serve error that time by Brooke Sullivan, and Luciana Medici will now toss up the serve, and she'll get an ace. Misplayed that time by Jackie Tuziant.
Yeah, if you're East Providence, you want to make these Prout players have to move. You want to serve between them if you can. Find the daylight.
Walsh bumps it for Sullivan. Walsh again. Now here's Tuziant. Beautiful attack. And it goes down for the kill. Medici just didn't have enough time to react to that one.
Now that ball was driven hard angle.
Back to serve, Devin Doran. serve is fielded cleanly that time as Alianello sends it back over to the other side. Now Prout and Tuzanon bumps it over the top of the net. And a scrambling Medici again not in time.
Yeah, that's a free ball by Prout, and East Providence just letting that ball drop right in the middle of the court. Somebody's got to be all over it.
Doran again on the serve for Prout. Alianello, a powerful drive. And it's kept alive for the moment. But Doran on the third hit just can't seem to redirect that ball. You have to hand it to Alianello. Is got a player very dynamic, very athletic. She's not the tallest player on that front row. She stands right next to Hannah Drolet and wearing jersey number 3. She's a lot shorter, but boy, she could jump.
Yeah, she's very athletic, and she's taking an aggressive swing every time.
Coming back into the game, Tori Judson, senior to serve for Prout. 7 points up on the scoreboard for Prout. 8 points up on the scoreboard for East Providence. They're neck and neck here in the second set. Prout leading it 1-0 overall. As Meg Lavoie diving for that one, just a little bit out of reach. And that'll bring up Lindsay Alianello. We'll see what she can do now from the server's post. She was the first player to serve in the game for East Providence. And again, we see the problem again. Another service error.
East Providence just not able to get on a roll with those missed serves. Coach Butler is beside himself.
What do you do when you're that case as a coach? I mean, can you alter the strategy? Can you alter the approach to the team, have them serve a little bit differently to possibly gain some confidence in their serve again?
Well, it's very frustrating because obviously they know that they need to keep the serve in. It's really more mental than it is physical. If you have them take something off it, then it's going to be too easy for the other team to pass. So you want to have something on your serve, but you just got to get the serve in.
Kill that time for Hannah Drolet. Brooke Sullivan. Ooh, a beautiful dig by Alianello. And Sullivan went right back at her again. This time Leah Drolet along the front line. It's kept alive. Lavoie sends it over. Leah Drolet again, and the block is ineffective.
But Drolet powers through that block, but you got to credit Alianello for keeping the ball alive, keeping the point alive.
And a good set by Newton.
Newton's done a nice job tonight of spreading the ball around.
Nicole Strick, a service error. Here comes Jenna Walsh. Now, East Providence leading the second set, 11-9. But it is Prout leading 1-0 overall after winning that opening set. And now here is Isabella Newton setting it up for Drolet. And a double hit by Brooke Sullivan.
There you saw a little off-speed shot.
And a service error by Hannah Drolet. Substitutions being made on the Prout side as number 18, Olivia Hurst, returns to the competition. And Meg Lavoie with the serve. Hannah Drolet plays it up for Medici, and then it's driven into the net by Mary Monagle. Boy, I think if you're Alex Butler at this point, you're beside yourself because your team is struggling to get the ball back over the net.
Yeah, he's practically begging them just to get it over the net.
Well, the problem doesn't only exist on the right side of your screen. Meg Lavoie, another service error. And we have seen several service errors tonight. It seems like it's contagious.
Maybe the weather has something to do with that. I don't know.
Well, it could. Starting to get chilly in here, too. I think somebody might have left the door open. As the winter storm, the first nor'easter of the season, comes into town, has impacted the crowd a little bit here tonight, but not tremendously. Medici bumps it up, and then it's played up ahead Isabella Newton, and then Alianello, a nice kill. Beautiful attack, very athletic, and you've got to enjoy her strength and position on this side of the court.
Yeah, that was a beautiful hit. She's probably been the most effective hitter overall tonight.
Well, that time it did not work in the favor for Mary Monagle as it clipped the top of the net. Fell out of bounds.
Yeah, yet another missed serve by East Providence.
They still lead at 14-12, even with the error, as Brooke Sullivan tosses up the serve. Lavoie with the bump. Over to Touziant. Well, the problem is that the set by Hurst just wasn't directed in the right way, and Touziant had a scramble just to try to keep the ball in play, but it was back behind the antenna.
Yeah, East Providence had a pass that was too tight for Newton to set, but Prout was not able to take advantage, and again, East Providence misses a serve.
Yeah, that one went long, a couple of feet by Medici. And that'll bring up Devin Duran to serve. Medici on the contact, and then the block out in front. Nice job by Grace Pendergast. Alianello, attacker.
Ball did not clear the net that time. Set was a little bit too far off.
15 all, Prout and East Providence. Duran still serving, and it's driven into that block out in front. Libby Sullivan, boy, she is tough to get around there on that front row. One of the middle blockers on this team is senior, standing 6'2" tall.
Yeah, East Providence is really struggling to get the ball past the block.
And Duran serve about, 4 or 5 inches long past the end line. And that'll end her streak. 16 all, showing up on the scoreboard here in the race to 25. Isabella Newton on the serve, puts it back in behind. Touziant over to Walsh, back to Touziant. Puts the attack over. Medici with the bump, back to Touziant. It's kept alive that time by Olivia Hurst. Goes to the back row for Duran. Now Touziant on the attack. Again, Hurst keeps it alive, but couldn't quite get the ball back over the net, and it'll be awarded back to East Providence.
Yeah, that time it was a nice block by Strick, and we have a timeout. East Providence.
Well, East Providence now has gained the lead one more time, 17-16, and in a position to possibly take advantage. You don't want to go down 2 sets early on in this contest, and it's one that's been tightly contested here in the second set.
And it's very unusual for a coach to call a timeout when they have the serve, but obviously there were some things that Coach Butler is not happy about, and he wants to address it during this timeout.
Well, we've talked about how crucial the serve has been, and the fact that the serves, a lot of times if we've seen some service aces, or service errors. We've seen both, but we've seen more service errors. And it's possible that he doesn't want his team to get into that trend. I think the last couple of times that they've served, they've had that problem.
Yeah, it really looks like it was getting in their heads. It was one person after another. It wasn't just 1 or 2 players.
And it has been on both sides, to be fair.
Yep.
East Providence will break. Dan Green a little bit more involved in his huddle that time, and now steps aside. Retakes his position in front of the bench, and we get prepared here for Isabella Newton to toss up another serve for East Providence. Played by Walsh, but boy, Walsh and Duran came together on that play, and you could see where they didn't know who was going to go for the ball, and it deflected off to the right. Lavoie couldn't track it down.
Yeah, that was a great serve by Izzy Newton to serve right between them.
Newton again off the top of the net, but it's played by Walsh that time, and it's tapped over the top. And a nice job there by Libby Sullivan again on the front line.
Yeah, well-placed tip right over the block.
Tori Jensen back into the game. 18-17. East Providence out in front. Medici trying to keep the ball in play, and Hannah Drole will bump it over. Now Jenna Walsh, Touziant on the far sideline, and a very lazy attack, but it was effective.
Miscommunication there between 2 East Providence defenders. Weren't sure who was going to take the ball. Ball lands gently in the middle of the court.
18 all, and the ball is back in play. Medici diving to the ground to keep the ball alive. Alianello Well, I don't think that's how they drew it up, but
No.
it was work. But it worked.
East Providence just poking the ball over, and then Prout had some miscommunication.
So Alianello now goes from hero to server. Beautiful work along the front row. The combination of Hannah Drolet and Nicole Strick working very well in the front row, and a timeout, Prout.
That's a good time for a timeout by Dan Green. You sense the momentum starting to shift a little bit in East Providence's favor. Stop the bleeding right away.
So we talked about that timeout a couple of moments ago. It seemed as though what East Providence decided to do ended up working out pretty well for them.
Yeah, they definitely seem more focused right now. I think also with Izzy Newton at the service line, Coach Butler felt more confident calling the timeout there, that she was going to get the serve in following the timeout. Normally you don't want to ice your own server, but he showed a lot of confidence there in Newton.
Again, Dan Green taking a more active role inside the huddle for Prout. This is a unique stage, too, for these players, having a chance to play inside the Division I house here at University of Rhode Island, the Keaney Gymnasium, which recently putting down this new floor specifically for volleyball. Of course, with the Ryan Center just next door, they've got the ability to play on this beautiful surface. The house for volleyball as play continues on. Medici bumps it up ahead. Newton. Tap over the top and played by Strick to get another kill.
Yeah, net violation called by Prout, but that ball would have dropped even if it wasn't a net violation. Well-placed tip to the right side.
21-18, and Alianello back to serve. Up over the top, played by Tuzanat. And trying to make the attack on the front line.
That time the ball never cleared the net. And Dan Green quickly calls his second timeout.
It was Libby Sullivan along the front line that was trying to clear the net. 22-18 now. And, well, the coach is trying to keep this one pretty tight because they're not letting it go too far away here. We've seen timeout after timeout after timeout. This second set, significant.
Yeah, you don't want to take any chances here. So as soon as you sense that the momentum has gotten away from you, you want to stop the bleeding as soon as you can here. During the season, Dan Green is known for his patience, letting his team figure things out on the court, but what we've seen in this set is he's not letting too many points go by without calling them in and talking things over.
How disruptive does that become when you've played all season a certain way in a certain style, and then all of a sudden you get to a situation where when all of a sudden the coach starts taking a more active role? I would think that might throw the players off a little bit.
You know, it could, but with this Prout team, they're very... this is a very mature team, and I think that they're going to handle it fine. East Providence, they're a very intelligent team. In fact, 7 of their players are ranked academically in the top 20 of their class.
That's incredible. And that's really what it's all about. That's fantastic. Tuzanat along the far sideline gets the kill.
Now, a little bit of an unorthodox swing Tuzanat has where the ball is a little bit behind her, and that's tough to defend.
And now she'll try her hand as the server. Tuzanat tosses it up, sends it over, and it's played up by Newton. Newton to the near sideline, and it's played over by Monagle, and the point being awarded to East Providence, 23-19. Very crucial for East Providence to get this victory here in the second set and tie this up 1-1. That ball just in play.
Yeah, there you see a free ball right to the corner by Tori Jedson. East Providence did not go for it. Hoped it would go out, but that ball landed in by at least 3 inches there.
Jenna Walsh now to serve once again. Again, clipping the top of the net, but Hannah Drolet keeps it alive and then driving it into the net. Mary Monagle.
Monagle led the Townies this year with 119 kills, and she's definitely going to have to pick it up on offense.
Here's Jenna Walsh to Medici, played by Brooke Sullivan on the front line. Again, Sullivan with an attack. This time, Leah Drolet. Now Hannah Drolet. Lavoie setting for Sullivan. That's a great combination we've seen out of Prout. Now Monagle looking for some redemption, but it's bumped up there by Walsh on the dig, and Sullivan with the attack, and it goes down for a kill.
Sullivan had 4 swings in that one volley and finally comes through on the 4th one. Beautiful shot right down the line.
And as play has continued, we've started to see some volleys develop, which we didn't have early on, and the game is starting to develop a bit of a rhythm. Attacked along the front line. Doran, but she was blocked, and the point goes to East Providence, 24-22.
Yeah, beautiful block there by Leah Drolet.
Set point, Hannah Drolet to serve. Lavoie trying to set it up, and it will be East Providence to take the victory, 25-22 in set number 2, and we're tied at 1 here on the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network. That, for East Providence, was huge. I don't think you could let Prout get out 2-0 to start this match.
Yeah, East Providence came alive there the later part of that set, that final point. Mary Monagle saw the ball coming over on the second play, was all over it, blocked the ball for the set point.
So the teams will swap sides, and we'll take a quick break on the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network. After 2 sets, we're tied at 1 as set number 2 goes to East Providence, 25-22.
The school night.
Back here at the Keaney Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Rhode Island. A snowy night outside, but the competition intense inside. 1-1 the score in the semifinal matchup in the Division I Girls Volleyball Championship Tournament. The Rhode Island Interscholastic League. I'm Joe Koss alongside Neil Nachbar as we get set to begin set number 3 between East Providence and Prout. Prout had started this contest so strong in the opening set. And East Providence, though, has started to come into their own and now has really started to go toe-to-toe with this Prout team. And well, I wouldn't be surprised if we went 5 sets.
Yeah, we could be in store for another long one. It's interesting here between games. Both coaches pulling a player aside from the rest of the team just to talk to them one-on-one. In the case of East Providence, Alex Butler was talking to outside hitter Mary Monagle, and Dan Green was talking to his setter, Megan Lavoie. Dan was a setter in high school at Tollgate High School and college here at URI, so he knows the setting position inside and out more than any other position, so he really knows how to break things down for the setter and talk strategy.
Both teams getting ready to go here for set number 3. Here's how they went in the first two sets. Prout took it 25-23 after leading 10-1 early on in the opening set. They won set number 1, and then set number 2, East Providence coming from behind 25-22 to pick up the victory there as they took the lead about midway through the set. And now they will start off with the serve here in the first one. Lindsay Alianello to serve it up and play already on. Tuzanant had to play it from well out of bounds to keep it alive. And then it's driven up over the top, that time by Nicole Strick, and she'll score the first point of the set for East Providence.
Yep, Strick finding that sideline. Beautiful hit there.
Lindsay Alianello back on the serve. The outside hitter is senior for the East Providence Townies. Tuzanant. It's clipped by Hannah Drolet. Nobody could get a hand on it as Drolet and Newton were teamed up there on the front row.
Yeah, every time that Prout has found that middle of the court short, it has dropped.
Tuzanant on the serve. Hannah Drolet sending a drive, but it's dug up by Jenna Walsh and then bumped over behind by Libby Sullivan. Attack by Hannah Drolet. Not good enough for a kill. Walsh was able to keep it alive. Newton plays it back with a bump. Lavoie setting Sullivan. Walsh with the dig. Sullivan again. Drolet trying to keep it alive, but just out of position on the play for a moment. Monagle, one last ditch effort, not enough. Number 28 coming up, Jackie Tuzanant. The senior will continue to serve as Prout leading 2-1 in set number 3, and Medici able to bring the ball up, driven by Strick, and she gets another kill. She's been pretty strong along that front row today.
Yeah, she's hitting good spots. She's really finding those sidelines where it's really difficult to defend, so she's playing really smart.
Tied at 2, Strick with the serve. Walsh to Lavoie to Sullivan. It's been a great combination for Prout. So far, Monagle, and she'll get a kill.
That ball dropping around the 10-foot line behind the setter.
Strick to serve. Walsh, Lavoie, Sullivan. We've heard that before. Sullivan in the attempt. It's played back by Strick. Now far side, Monagle driving over the top for the kill.
Nice line shot there by Monagle.
Nicole Strick on her third consecutive point. 3-2. I think they're going to change it to possibly 4-2 here in a second. Well, check that. How are they going to change it to 3-3? They're going to give it to Prout.
Yeah, it looks like the down official called the ball out. There was some discussion between the down official and the lines person, but...
Now in the first set, when Prout had a similar call go against them, it rattled them a little bit. This time it goes against East Providence, and it doesn't seem to rattle them at all.
Right. That was another shot right to the corner by East Providence. They're finding those corners consistently.
Hannah Drolet with her team and the Townies, a 4-3 lead in the third set. We're knotted at 1 service error, our first of the third set.
Yeah, that wasn't a good toss on her serve. She tossed that ball low and in front of her left shoulder.
If you have a bad toss, Neil, is there anything you could do?
You actually get one retoss per rotation. So she could have let the ball drop and she would have been awarded a redo.
And Meg Lavoie gives it right back. You don't get many redos in life, so you have to take advantage of them when you can, right?
That's right.
Oh, boy. Mary Monagle up next. To serve for East Providence in our third consecutive service error. I shouldn't have said anything because as soon as I said that, we ended up with 3 consecutive.
Well, that's what plagued East Providence earlier in the match, and it seemed like the latter parts of the last set, they were fixing their serves, but here we go again.
Well, Brooke Sullivan at least breaks the ice on it, and it's misplayed by Duran at the net. And Medici, now with the 6-5 advantage, will take her team and begin with the serve. And Tamika Speaks comes into the game, number 13 for East Providence in white and red for the first time today, and she'll make her appearance in the third set. Tuzinant again leaping from well out of bounds, and now Doran driving it back over with an attack. Medici falls, Doran puts on the attack, and when your libero goes down on the play and you've got the opportunity to attack, Doran was going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Doran had a couple of plays there where she was able to go after the overpass and take advantage of it.
Now she'll serve. Speaks, misplays it, Medici keeps it alive. Speaks unable to get it over now. Speaks has been on the bench for the first 2 sets, comes into a game that's hotly contested. She's got to get warmed up a little bit.
Yeah, you can tell she's very nervous out there.
And they're going to give an ace to Doran. East Providence looking a bit flat.
Yeah, that time the serve went between Monagle and Medici, and they looked at each other.
Speaks that time gets a hold of it. Over the top for Strick. And it's good. She'll get another kill. Strick we've got a handful of kills in the game so far.
She's really kept East Providence in it every set so far.
Speaks will head to the bench, and Hannah Drolette, after a quick break and out of the rotation, will enter back in along that front line. As Libby Sullivan couldn't make good contact with it, and the ball bounces back down onto the East Providence side out of play.
Izzy Newton forcing the bad pass by Prout. She's probably been their most consistent server this evening.
Meg Lavoie forced to play it back, and Olivia Hurst didn't have much that she could do with it. Now here's Alianello along the far sideline for Lavoie. She'll send it over and nearly throws the East Providence offense or defense into disarray in the process. Now Walsh plays it back over the net. Sturck again with a drive, and the block by Sullivan is out of bounds.
Yeah, East Providence hitting that ball right off the block. They're playing much better offensively right now.
Here's Isabel Newton. Lavoie didn't get a good set on it that time and nearly cost him the point. Alianello calling for it on the far sideline. It's tipped up, and a diving stab made by Doran, but it wasn't enough.
Now, we've mentioned it a number of times. Alianello, not the tallest player, but she's very effective.
Izzy Newton again on the serve. 10-8 the advantage for East Providence in white. Boy, Olivia Hurst doing everything she can, but over the last couple of plays has been just a step off.
Yeah, she looks a little frustrated right now. The lefty took a good rip at the ball, but didn't clear the net.
Doran pushes the ball over. Now Medici, Alianello calling for it again, but it'll be set to Hannah Drolet as Prout will win the point. Tori Jetson comes back into the game, and she will join as a serve. Throws it up. Set up by Izzy Newton, and that ball long by Hannah Drolet.
Yeah, there's a ball set off the net. You don't want to do too much with that set. You just want to keep it in, maybe send it to the corner.
Doran on the serve. Drolet plays it over to Strick, and it's out of play.
That time the official calling a carry, saying that Strick held onto the ball too long.
You can almost hear it when she made contact with it.
Yep.
Strick again, and this time it's a kill.
That time the ball rattled between two Prout defenders.
12-11, East Providence leading in the third set. Alianello throws up the serve, and here we go. Well, Meg Lavoie you expect her to go ahead and set the ball. That time she just decided to tip it over, and it worked.
Yeah, that was a very smart play. She saw the opening and took advantage of it.
Jenna Walsh to the bench. Tuzanant on the serve, far side. Monagle never had a chance.
Nope, that ball set right into the antenna. Newton's got to set her feet before she sets that ball.
Alex Butler along the sideline, very animated in describing to Newton exactly how he wants her to set that ball. Much better that time. A little bit mistimed, though, by Strick. And the ball hit long by Monagle.
Seen several points here in a row where East Providence has gotten out of sync offensively. Timing's off between setter and hitters.
We'll see how far they let it go. 14-12. And 14-13 as Tuzanant commits the service error. Duran will take a seat. Jenna Walsh, the libero, rotates in again into the back row for the defense of a Strick serve, and it's played up by Walsh. Now near side for Brooks Sullivan. Monagle driving over, and she'll get a kill. Maybe not. Now that was interesting because Strick played it over the top. It looked as though play was dead as the Prout player dove towards the bench, and the officials are going to call it in favor of East Providence.
Yeah, that was hard to see from where we are, but it looked like the ball was dead. Prout claiming that they kept it alive.
Excellent play by Sullivan. Lavoie setting her up. Sullivan positioned to send it straight in front of her, but she turned to her left and just dumped it over the net. (15) Prout, 14 East Providence. Here's Jenna Walsh. Hannah Drolet with the drive. The attack, and Brooke Sullivan tips it up over the top. Drolet, setting Drolet. Handed to Leah. Well, it didn't work directly, but East Providence wins the point, and Hannah Drolet will serve. Tied at 15.
Jenna Walsh made a nice dig there, but Prout unable to keep the ball alive.
Hannah Drolet tosses it up, looking for an ace. Beautiful play from the back row. Duran to keep it alive, but they got helter-skeltered and scattered all around, and Leah Drolet was able to dump it over to a near open court on the Prout side.
Prout saved that ball from at least 40 feet from the net, but then unable to get back on defense in time.
To the far right side, they've got temporary plastic fencing set up right inside the entrance of the gymnasium. Brooke Sullivan's shot goes wide. Point for East Providence. And I thought Tuzanant was going to run right into it and knock it over. She was going for it. And there's our timeout by Prout. 17-15, East Providence out on top. In our third set, we're knotted at 1 here in the semifinal. Coventry, the team that the winner of this game will play in the championship game on Saturday here for the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Division I Girls Volleyball Championship.
Yeah, regardless of who wins this match, that sets up for a nice final on Saturday. It should be a good match no matter whether it's East Providence or Prout that comes out on top. This has been a season that's been wide open this year in Division I, Division II, and Division III in Rhode Island. Not a single undefeated team. I can't remember the last time that's happened. In fact, I looked back as far as 2001 and could not find a season where there wasn't at least one team that was undefeated.
Well, East Providence, they're on the court ready to continue their attack on Prout. Trying to go up 2-1 here. In our third set, and Hannah Drolet on the serve for East Providence and the Townies. And it's an ace. Great way to come out of a timeout. To capitalize on it as Tori Jetson couldn't quite handle that serve.
Yeah, that ball served right between Brooke Sullivan and Tori Jetson. A little confusion there.
Drolet attacks Jetson again. Doran forced to Walsh, who had to just bump it over. Then Medici to Leah Drole, and she'll put it up. Lavoie now for Sullivan. That combination that works so well, but Sullivan is blocked at the net. Doran backhands it over the net. Leah Drole, a tip shot, no good. Bumped over by Jetson. Newton setting for Monagle far side. Kept alive by Tuzanot on the back line. Sullivan. Beautiful, but dig by Alianello. Ends up being an attack and a point.
Yeah, that was a great dig off a hard-driven ball by Brooke Sullivan. Alianello keeping the ball alive. Ball crosses over the net. Mistimed by Prout. East Providence wins the point.
19-15. Surprise, surprise, Hannah Drole into the net. Boy, tough day on serving. I bet they're going to work on that. Whoever wins this one will spend some time in practice serving.
Yeah, that's really hurt both teams tonight. It's really prevented them from going on any kind of a sustained run.
Medici over to the far sideline, and it's kept alive by Prout. Newton with the bump. Monagle and Drole just has to tap it over. Lavoie looking for Sullivan. Got her. Leah Drole the bump. Hannah Drole the bump. Walsh keeps it alive. Now Leah Drole taps it over for the attack, and that tip shot was enough to rattle Jenna Walsh as she was changing directions and couldn't change quick enough. And an ace for Mary Monagle.
Well, last several serves for East Providence seem to either be an ace or an error. All or nothing.
Timeout Prout, and they've had to close this one down. 21-16, and again, Dan Green will intercede on behalf of his team and the Crusaders.
Yeah, Prout normally passes better than this. This is it's got to be a little disappointing for Dan Green to see his team get aced like that.
When you have a team that's not passing well, what kind of adjustments can you make to get that element of the game back functioning again?
Well, if you don't have anybody on the bench that you feel confident in subbing in, then sometimes it's a matter of moving your players around a little bit. For example, if the serves are falling short, move your passers up. If they're deep, move them back. And other than that, you just got to make sure that they communicate. Call the ball as early and loud as possible, so that way it's very clear to everybody who's taking the serve.
We'll see if their communication improves coming out of this timeout. Prout trying to salvage this third set, down 21-16. East Providence again quickly breaking from their set, trying to keep that momentum going. You see a little bit of a bounce in the step among the girls too. They're very lighthearted, but they're serious about what they're doing, but they're definitely focused and having a good time out there.
Yeah, they're playing loose. They're having fun, which is it's good to see. Many times when you get to the semifinals, you'll see players play tight, maybe make some uncharacteristic mistakes, but they seem to really be enjoying themselves. It's just very refreshing. It's nice to see in this atmosphere.
It is a championship atmosphere here at the Keaney Gymnasium, the University of Rhode Island. Monagle on the serve. Lavoie sets it up. And now here's Alianello along the far sideline and a kill.
She wanted that one. She was calling for that ball right from the beginning before the ball was even passed.
She's vocal. She's tremendous on that far side. Monagle with the serve. Boy, I thought that one was going to clip the top of the net. Alianello for Welsh. Alianello has driven the ball. All right, 3 sets in the books. East Providence leading it 2-1 here at the Keaney Gymnasium. You're watching and listening to the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network. Back at the Keaney Gymnasium, Kingston, Rhode Island, at the campus of University of Rhode Island, as we are just about set to start the fourth set of the semifinal matchup between East Providence and Prout. And in the break, Neil, we were taking a look at the head coach for Prout and Dan Green. And we've seen his team not necessarily be as effective as they thought they could be in the third set. And it's your opinion that maybe he might be contemplating a lineup change as he sat on the bench during the break by himself looking over his roster.
Yeah, we'll have to see who takes the floor here for Prout. He was definitely looking at the lineup, maybe trying to figure out a different combination, something might work. You can see him now taking players one by one aside, talking about their responsibilities, what they need to do better. Dan's constantly thinking, the wheels are always turning, so we'll see if he makes any changes here. At least the start of the set, it looks like we have the same starters.
Prior to the game, when I was speaking with Danny, he said just as any coach would, is we've really got to limit mistakes and play our game, and we'll be just fine tonight. But I don't know if they've necessarily done that tonight.
No, they've have not been able to get into any kind of a rhythm. When they've gotten the ball outside to Brooke Sullivan, East Providence has done a nice job at defending it. They've come up with a lot of key digs, and they just have been able to shut down Prout's offense. Prout has also struggled on serve receive. We saw that towards the end of the last set. East Providence racking up the aces, and that's really unlike Prout. Prout, not necessarily picture-perfect passes during the season, but at least keeping the ball alive, and it's really strange to see them get aced as much as they did in that last set.
Well, Jackie Tousenant will be the first to serve here in the fourth set. East Providence up 2-1 in the set count, and they will win the first point of set number 4.
That ball deflected off the Prout blocker out of bounds. East Providence offense picking up where it's left off.
Nicole Strick to toss up the serve, and Lavoie has a hard time pushing the ball up on the set. And it'll be East Providence that gets a win. Boy, Lavoie was not happy after that one.
No, she felt that the East Providence blocker interfered with the set. The referee's judgment, the set was on its way over the net, which made it fair game.
Walsh scoops that one up now. Brooke Sullivan, who's been powerful along that far side. The attack and the kill, and starting to get her rhythm back, to get her flow of the game back in shape, and she'll put the first tally up on the scoreboard for Prout.
Yeah, to this point, she hasn't had great success on that line shot, but that was a nice one off the top of the block.
Jenna Walsh's serve just a tick long, and East Providence goes up 3-1. Hannah Drolet on the serve. Goes to the back row for Tousenant. Misplays it. Will pick up the receive error, and the ace going to Hannah Drolet.
Now, if Prout's going to get back into this match, Jenna Walsh needs to be one of those players to pick it up. She was second team All-State last year, so she's certainly capable.
Certainly looks as though she's a player that carries a lot of talent as Leah Drolet drives her attack into the net. Substitutions being made for Prout is coming into the game. Olivia Hurst heading off to the bench. Tori Jetson. Meg Lavoie now on the serve. Monagle fires her attack over, and a beautifully placed attack that time by Olivia Hurst. You could tell early on in this game that Hurst was a player that played with a lot of strategy, but I think that was one of the first plays we've seen so far where she's been able to execute.
Yeah, she's a very cerebral player. She's always thinking about what's open on the other side of the net.
And Lavoie's serve goes long. Mary Monagle again, do the honors. Tied at 3 for East Providence. Kept alive by Welsh. Sullivan, a gentle tip-in attack, and it's effective.
Yeah, 2 out of the last 3 points. East Providence got caught napping on defense. That ball landing in the middle of the court with 2 players looking at each other.
Now Sullivan with the lead for Prout. Serve error, and it ties it up at 4.
Dan Green doesn't usually react when there's a missed serve, but you can tell that it must be bothering him on the inside.
And the attacker, as Olivia Hirsch tried to drive that ball into the middle of the East Providence defense, catches the net. Luciana Medici, the libero, is now serving as Tuzinant trying to track that ball down after the set wasn't where it needed to be. Newton sets it up that time for Strick. Can't make it happen. Newton again looking for Strick. This time goes Alianello, dumps it up over the top. Walsh trying to creep in. And a violation on Prout.
Yeah, Prout just drawn into the net just a little bit. Referee Pete Wermy calling that violation.
Sent over the top that time by Tuzinant, and at the front row, the Alianello pushes it up over the top, and it's good for the kill. Tipped up by the Prout defense. Coming back into the game is Tori Jetson for Prout.
Yeah, Jetson normally just plays back row for them this year, but she's playing, she just went into the front row.
Well, you talked about some of those lineup changes. Well, maybe that was one of the adjustments that have made.
Yep.
Prout will win that one. It's now 9-4. East Providence out in front. Doran with the serve. Medici misplays it, and it's an ace. Devin Duran has had moments that have kept this team of Prout alive. Puts the ball on the play. Newton. Up ahead, tapped over by Strick. Played back for Duran. Into the back row for Medici. Newton to set. Looking for Alianello near sideline. Tipped off the net for a kill.
A little bit of luck on that one. The ball bounced off the top of the net. Falls gently into the middle of the court.
Sullivan might have got a piece of it as well, if she had reached up. But not much if she did. You could see that one right on the release. That Newton did not have the height on that serve.
Prout has adjusted their defense on Strick. They're picking up that power tip every time now.
10-7 edge favoring the white and red team on your right for East Providence, but they'll give up a point there as that ball driven in the net, 10-8. Medici to Newton to Strick. Tapped over the top that time. Very effective by Liddy Sullivan. Timeout Prout.
Yeah,
timeout East Providence.
Coach Butler not happy at all with what he sees. Quickly calls a timeout. Strick has tipped several times in a row now, and Prout has adjusted in this set. It hasn't dropped yet, and it was dropping frequently earlier. Prout moving their defenders up in the back row, and they're reading that tip every time.
So we'll see what kind of adjustments now East Providence will make to try to regain the momentum of this one. They lead 2-1 in the set count. Far sideline, Tuziant. A lazy attack, but it's effective. Newton couldn't get there in time.
Yeah, that time the soft tip right short middle drops between defenders. Newton a little bit late.
We're tied at 10. Jetson on the serve. Newton to set for Strick. Nope, Alianello. Far sideline comes back at her. Alianello pushes it back over the net. Now Lavoie looking for Sullivan, and her attack is good for a kill.
East Providence struggling on defense here. Prout is finding the openings consistently.
Prout crowd starting to get into this one as they try to tie it up here as 2 apiece at the end of 4 sets. If they can maintain their lead, right now they're up 11-10. Welsh looking for Duran, and she'll drive the attack into the net.
One of the few back row attacks that we've seen this evening, just short that time.
Now here's Lindsay Alianello. Welsh forced to just bump it over. Medici front row Newton. Near sideline Monagle. who's been quiet here in the fourth set so far. Bumped over by Prout and the Crusaders. Now Lavoie pushes it over the net. Newton gets the bump. Pushed up by Drolet, and then an attack error by Mary Monagle.
Yeah, there was no rhythm on that play. It's coming off a long bump set. You don't want to try to do too much with that ball.
Jenna Welsh to the bench for Prout. 12-11 the advantage. And Jackie Touzenant on the serve. The attack by Mary Monagle. Lavoie setting Brooke Sullivan, far sideline, dug by Medici. Newton setting Monagle again, and it'll go wide. (13-11) Prout.
Yeah, Monagle is not in a rhythm at all right now.
Touzenant from Medici, running to the scoreboard as Newton nearly ran out of court. Bumped up by Lavoie, pushed over by Sullivan, and that'll go wide. No, they're going to give it to Prout. No, now they're going to give it to East Providence. Okay, I thought it was wide. The official had pointed to the left first, and then pointed to East Providence. Been a long day.
It's very close.
Jenna Walsh and Lavoie couldn't quite get a hand under it. Walsh's receive was low and like a line drive, and Lavoie just couldn't quite scoop it up away from the net. Tied at 13. Alianello driving serve, very good at that. Again, Lavoie couldn't track it down, and it goes for another ace. 2 in a row for Lindsay Alianello. Excuse me, Nicole Strick. Strick on the serve. Brooke Sullivan on the attack, and it's a kill. 14 all.
Yeah, that middle of the court has been wide open for Prout.
Jenna Walsh. Leaping serve, and it's an error. Hannah Drolet tosses it up. We're back underway. Lavoie looking for Brooke Sullivan on the far side. It's dug up by Monagle. Now Newton looking for Leah Drolet into the back row. Touzenant keeps it alive. Sullivan taps it over the top. Tapped up by Newton. She'll drive it over the top with an attack. Now Doran pushes it towards the back row. And a violation against East Providence.
Yeah, the call came a little bit late, but East Providence did commit a net violation there.
15 all in the fourth set. East Providence leads 2-1. Hannah Drolet keeps it alive, pushed over by Monagle, bumped by Welsh, and driven into the net by Brooke Sullivan. East Providence now with the serve once again. Mary Monagle. Walsh to receive for Lavoie. Sullivan. Blocked. Lavoie keeps it alive. Far sideline, kept up by Prout, and Walsh sends it back over. Great play that time by East Providence to keep that ball alive. Far sideline, driven powerfully that time by Tori Jedson. And East Providence cannot respond, and it is again tied at 16, point for point.
Yeah, that was ironic because East Providence played some of the best defense the entire match, but then lost the point.
Brooke Sullivan now trying her hand at the serve. Drolet keeps it alive, tosses off to sister Leah Drolet, and they're going to call a violation on the side of Prout.
That's a violation you don't see too often, a net violation away from the play.
Here's Touzenant. A gentle attack, and it works. Touzenant, very good job at reading the defense that time. Saw her two defenders going up for the block, had already started to elevate up by the time she was up, figuring the best approach for her was just to drop it over their head because they wouldn't be able to get to it in time.
Yeah, if you're Proud, you keep going to that short middle part of the court until East Providence makes an adjustment.
Speaks back into the game for East Providence. And boy, East Providence starting to get a little bit back on their heels here. 18-17. Prout still has it, but some of the points that they've won over the past couple have not necessarily been all that dominant.
Look for Prout to keep this serve away from the libero Medici. Oh, she gets it anyway.
But she misplays it.
Yep.
And now she has to backhand it to get it over with a nice reverse bump. Put up by Lavoie, looking far side. Tuzinot blocked out in front by number 18, Nicole Strick.
That was a huge block because East Providence was struggling there on serve receive.
Tied at 18 now, Izzy Newton. Walsh to receive, looking far side for Jackie Tuzinot. Again, drops it up over the top, but Newton responds nicely. That time, a nice play. Libby Sullivan. Boy, she's fun to watch.
Yeah, that ball beautifully placed right in the corner where nobody could get it.
The 6'2 senior towers above her competitors. Newton the set, finds Alianello. Walsh with the dig. Tuzinot tries to keep it alive. Again, Newton this time for Hannah Drolet. Kept alive again. Libby Sullivan into the net as it's forced right back down by Strick. And now it's tied again at 19. We've had a tie at every number since 14. Back and forth. No greater than a 1-point lead. Walsh. Far sideline, Tuzinot, dug by Walsh. Drolet again driving an attack. Tuzinot again trying to drop it up over the top. Didn't quite have the momentum that time, but you can tell they're continuing to try to drop it up over the top. But the difference is that the East Providence defense starting to respond because Medici would have been right where that ball would have come down.
Yeah, last few points, they've made that adjustment. They've covered up that middle of the court. Prout not challenging the block of Hannah Drolet, which is smart.
But East Providence did not need that from Alianello. They had a 20-19 advantage and a little bit of momentum. Now they're tied at 20 again. Jackie Tuzinot will serve next after the break. Wow, this has been some back and forth volleyball here in the fourth set. Both teams fighting for an opportunity to represent the state in the title matchup.
Yeah, you can't get any closer than this set has been. Neither team able to break away.
I'm almost nervous to see how high it'll go.
Well, is it still Wednesday?
At this point it is. I don't know how much longer, but right now it is. Well, both teams getting involved. We see Dan Green again, this time pulling Meg Lavoie off to the sideline to try to get that passing game going again. It's one of the things that Prout has been hit or miss on throughout this contest. And Lavoie is the setter, a very big part in that.
Yeah, Dan Green likes to talk things over with his setter quite a bit during the course of a match, the setter being the quarterback of the team. This is Lavoie's first season as the starting setter. Last year, Tori Jetson was the setter, taking on a different role this year as more of a back row specialist.
Jackie Tuzinot trying to help her Prout Crusaders distance themselves from the East Providence Townies, but it's not going to happen on that play. Look at that. Hannah Drolet on the far side. Beautiful attack.
She got a hold of that one, powered the ball through two blockers.
Mary Monagle to serve up by one. That was Nicole Strick, Tied at 21 now.
The serving errors that plagued East Providence earlier in the match are starting to resurface.
Here's Jenna Walsh. Handled by Medici. Newton now looking for Monagle. Tossed up by Lavoie, far side. Sullivan, it's a great combination. And it's good. Lavoie and Sullivan are magical.
Yeah, Sullivan that time finding that ball right inside the end line. East Providence was hoping that it would be long, but that ball was definitely good.
22-21, Jenna Walsh. Newton serves it back for Leah Drolet, taps it over the top, dug up by Lavoie, now Brooks. Sullivan to send it over. Drolet again. This time it's Hannah Drolet. And we've got a carry. 2 hits being called on the Prout side. 22-22.
That ball mishandled a little bit by Duran.
Very quick on the whistle on that play. Sullivan over the top. Newton setting for Leah Drolet, and it goes down for a kill. 23-22. East Providence on top.
Both Drolet sisters making a big imprint in this match right now.
Timeout, Prout. It's been interesting to watch that. You know, there's something about twins, and there's something about sisters, and even if you have twin brothers as well. When you have somebody who you're used to working with, you can communicate without even speaking. It's just, it's a magical thing that you have when you have that relationship, and you could see that starting to come out here in this match.
Yeah, they've been playing sports for so long together that you can tell that they definitely know what the other one's thinking. There's that unspoken trust between them, and it's nice to watch. It's nice to see it unfold.
It's a sixth sense, and East Providence hoping that it'll carry them to a win here in the 4th set. 23-22. If East Providence wins this one, they take home the marbles and they will go to play in the championship game on Saturday. Prout needs to win to stay alive. East Providence up 2-1 in a hotly contested semifinal duel. They'll play Coventry in the championship game. Both teams break their huddles. It'll be Hannah Drolet that'll have the serve for the Townies of East Providence, and the crowd has started to come alive.
Look for Prout to set Sullivan on the outside this play.
Tuzanot, Lavoie, Sullivan out of play. That's big. 24-22, match point. The crowd on the far sideline for East Providence rise to their feet.
Even
one serve.
A mishit, I think they're going to go right back to Sullivan.
Lavoie, Sullivan bumps it over, changing her strategy. Drolet with a bump. Newton, Leah Drolet keeps it alive. Now Monagle forced to just tap it over. Handled by Tuzanot. Over to the far side, Brooke Sullivan bumps it over, and East Providence will play for the Rhode Island State Championship in girls volleyball.
What a great match by East Providence. Joe, I saw these kids play a couple of years ago when I worked the East Providence volleyball camp, and at that time, most of these players were JV players. They've come a long way in the last couple of years, and got to credit Alex Butler for doing a great job with his team. Congratulations to East Providence.
So East Providence takes the victory tonight in the semifinal, 3-1 over Prout in a hotly contested matchup. And East Providence will go on to play in the championship game on Saturday against Coventry High School. The final score 3-1. The sets went down this way. Prout winning the first set 25-23. East Providence 25-22 in set 2. Set 3, 25-16 for East Providence and 25-22 for East Providence. Your final score once again, East Providence 3, Prout 1. For Neil Nachbar, I'm Joe Koss. You've been watching a presentation on the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Network.